Elena, a woman in her late 30s from the Philippines, meticulously folded tiny garments in the grand Parisian nursery. Her days were a quiet rhythm of care for the billionaire's daughter, Camille, a life far removed from her own humble beginnings. Despite her unwavering dedication, she often felt invisible within the sprawling estate, just another part of the household machinery. The family's casual dismissals of her observations, particularly about Camille's delicate health, were a constant, subtle sting. She knew the child better than anyone, understanding the nuances of her moods and the subtle shifts in her small body. This intimate knowledge, however, was often overlooked by those who held the power and believed their own sophisticated doctors knew best. Soon, a terrifying crisis would force everyone to confront just how wrong their assumptions about Elena truly were. Elena's quiet dedication often masked a deeper worry about Camille's increasingly fragile state. She noticed subtle changes in the child's appetite and energy, details easily overlooked by busy parents and their expert physicians. A persistent, almost imperceptible tremor in Camille's tiny hands began to trouble the nanny, a detail she hesitated to voice again. Each day, unspoken concerns grew heavier, a silent alarm ringing only in her mind. The mansion's vastness and the family's sophisticated world amplified her sense of being an outsider with an inconvenient truth. She knew, with unsettling certainty, that something was profoundly wrong, something the doctors had not yet identified. How long could she remain silent before her quiet observations became a desperate cry? Elena's daily routine with Camille transformed into a silent, desperate vigil, every small detail now magnified. She meticulously noted Camille's fading energy, the faint discoloration under her eyes, and a strange taste in her food. These quiet observations sharply contrasted with the family's expert doctors, who dismissed symptoms as typical childhood issues. The nanny felt an escalating dread, certain these were not phases, but signs of a deepening problem. Her quiet resolve hardened, an instinct honed by years of childcare and a deep bond with Camille. Yet, raising these concerns again to the unyielding medical team risked her job and reputation. How could she reveal the quiet truth when their esteemed expertise seemed to blind them completely? A woman now moved through the opulent Parisian mansion with a new, heavier burden. The sterile white walls and hushed medical consultations only amplified her growing isolation. Each morning she faced the dismissive glances of the family specialists, their authority a silent, unyielding wall. Her observations, once anecdotes, now felt like accusations against their expertise, threatening her livelihood. Challenging them directly jeopardized her visa, her income, and her ability to send money home to the Philippines. Yet, the child's weakening smile and increasingly listless eyes burned into her conscience, outweighing personal fear. How much longer could she silently endure the doctor's assurances while the child she loved slipped further away? Each morning, Elena watched Camille, her fragile state contrasting sharply with the mansion's polished grandeur and hushed hallways. The specialist doctors continued their prescribed treatments, their confidence unwavering despite Camille's visible and alarming decline. Elena felt profound unease, her caregiver instincts screaming something crucial was being overlooked in their elaborate medical analyses. The quiet desperation deepened as Camille's laughter faded, replaced by weak coughs and a pallor no sunlight could erase. She meticulously noted every detail, subtle changes in behavior, diet, and precise times new, worrying symptoms appeared. This private record, scribbled late at night in a small notebook, became her silent rebellion against the unyielding medical establishment. What could a simple nanny do with mere observations against a team of acclaimed Parisian physicians? Elena's careful observations of Camille felt like a desperate race against time. The renowned doctors, despite confident pronouncements, offered no hope as Camille's condition visibly deteriorated daily. A profound unease solidified into a firm conviction. They fundamentally misread Camille's illness. Her secret notebook, filled with precise details of Camille's subtle changes, became her only means against formidable medical authority. She knew the immense professional and social risks of questioning such an esteemed team, especially as a foreign nanny. Still, Camille's fading laughter and increasing weakness propelled Elena, demanding a different path to help. The silent question loomed: could her instincts and hidden notes truly stand against the entrenched medical establishment? Elena watched Camille's breathing grow shallower, each fading breath a profound weight on her spirit. The renowned specialists, confident in their diagnosis, now spoke of palliative care, their words a chilling pronouncement. A crushing helplessness threatened Elena, battling the child's failing life and the doctor's unyielding authority. Her secret notebook, filled with observations, felt like her sole weapon against a dismissive medical system. Fear of ridicule and professional ruin, a foreign nanny challenging experts, was a tangible, heavy burden. Yet as Camille's tiny hand weakly squeezed hers, a fierce resolve ignited, burning through Elena's last hesitation. She knew, with absolute clarity, she must speak up now, whatever the devastating personal cost. Elena's fierce resolve, ignited by Camille's fragile grip, now propelled her forward as the renowned specialists concluded their somber consultation. The oppressive silence in the hospital room magnified the heavy weight of their collective authority and the unspoken dismissal of a nanny's observations. She took a deep, fortifying breath, her secret notebook feeling like a shield and an instrument as she confronted the medical team. With a quiet determination that belied her trembling hands, Elena stepped directly into the path of the lead physician, Dr. Dubois, blocking his exit. His gaze, initially polite, sharpened into a mixture of surprise and professional annoyance at her unexpected interruption. Despite the sudden icy shift in the room's atmosphere, she began to speak, her voice clear, detailing the precise anomalies she had meticulously recorded. Every word felt like a tiny, defiant tremor against the unyielding bedrock of medical certainty. Elena's quiet voice, filled with precise detail, meticulously presented the anomalies she observed in Camille. Dr. Dubois' professional annoyance deepened, while other specialists exchanged swift, dismissive glances, their authority palpable. She described subtle tremors, an unusual rash, and Camille's sudden, profound lethargy, all noted during doctors' absence. Each measured word, though factual, seemed to bounce off the impenetrable wall of their collective medical expertise. The unspoken skepticism was a heavy burden, but Camille's fragile state fueled Elena's unwavering resolve. Dr. Dubois then raised a hand, a clear, authoritative gesture signaling her to cease speaking, his patience thinning. Yet Elena refused to be silenced, her voice rising slightly, determined to deliver one crucial, overlooked piece of information. Defying Dr. Dubois, Elena's voice solidified, revealing the overlooked detail that had preoccupied her for days. She spoke of a faint, metallic odor on Camille's breath, a detail dismissed as irrelevant by the medical team. The room bristled with professional disdain, specialists exchanging incredulous, dismissive glances. Dr. Dubois, his patients visibly straining, leaned in, his voice an intense whisper, questioning her authority to contradict them. Elena met his gaze, unwavering, her resolve fueled by Camille's fragile state, ignoring the weight of their collective disapproval. She reiterated her observation, not as a diagnosis, but as a crucial, unaddressed symptom, a piece they were overlooking. A heavy silence descended, a moment filled with the anticipation of the chief physician's impending, intense response. Yet it never came. The chief physician's expected outburst never materialized, leaving a profound silence in the sterile room. His gaze, sharp and assessing, swept over his team before settling back on Elena, a new intensity in his eyes. The other specialists exchanged uneasy glances, clearly unsettled by their leader's unexpected restraint in the face of such defiance. Dr. Dubois, without a word, turned to a nearby nurse, his voice now a low, urgent command for a specific, unrequested toxicological panel. This was not an admission of error, but a calculated, immediate response to Elena's unwavering observation. The atmosphere crackled with a fragile tension as the medical team processed this sudden, silent shift in strategy. Elena stood firm, her heart pounding, unsure if this was a victory or just the beginning of a much deeper challenge. Elena stood firm, the chief physician's unexpected command now echoing in the profound silence. The medical team, clearly unsettled, moved with new, urgent precision to prepare the unrequested toxicological panel. An invisible tension filled the sterile room, each second amplifying the unspoken skepticism from the specialists. Dr. Dubois' calculated shift, though not validation, placed the immense burden of his decision squarely on Elena's insight. Her heart pounded, a silent testament to the daunting risk she had taken for the child's ailing life. The specific tests, now underway, would either vindicate her urgent theory or expose her as gravely mistaken. That fragile hope, introduced against odds, now hung precariously, awaiting a verdict that would determine everything. Elena stood by the monitors, the steady beeping a stark contrast to her own rapid pulse. Every second felt like an hour, magnifying the immense pressure on Dr. Dubois' unprecedented decision. The medical team's quiet skepticism, a constant hum, now felt like a heavy blanket of impending judgment. Their collective doubts solidified, painting a serious picture of the professional fallout if she were proven wrong. Elena fixated on the child's still face, a silent, determined promise to cling to every last shred of possibility. Suddenly, the lab technician re-entered, clutching a sealed envelope, bringing the tense room to an absolute halt. All gazes, charged with apprehension and a desperate hope, converged on the paper holding their shared fate. The lab technician's hand trembled slightly as he presented the sealed envelope to Dr. Dubois, every eye in the intensive care unit fixed on the unassuming paper. A heavy silence descended, broken only by the rhythmic beeping of the life support machines, amplifying the gravity of the moment. Dr. Dubois took a slow, deliberate breath, the weight of Elena's unprecedented suggestion and the child's fading life resting squarely on her shoulders. With a practiced motion, she tore open the seal, her gaze sweeping across the printed data, searching for the truth that would either vindicate Elena or confirm the team's deepest fears. Elena watched her face, a flicker of hope, battling against the cold dread that threatened to consume her. The doctor's expression remained unreadable for a long, agonizing moment before a subtle, almost imperceptible shift began to register. Dr. Dubois' gaze lifted slowly from the lab report, her face a complex mosaic of professional gravity and dawning, unsettling realization. A collective intake of breath swept through the ICU team as they instinctively leaned forward, sensing the profound, terrifying shift in the room's atmosphere. The printed data confirmed it unequivocally. A rare, potent, harmful substance coursed through the child's fragile veins, vindicating Elena's desperate, previously unheard plea. This revelation, while terrifying in its implications, also presented an unprecedented and deeply ethical challenge to the established medical protocols. Doubts about Elena's wild claims now transformed into a desperate, reluctant hope, though a palpable fear of the unknown still clung to the air like a shroud. The path forward was fraught with immense risk and required a radical leap of faith, one that the senior medical staff found almost impossible to contemplate. The weight of their next decision, now amplified by undeniable proof, pressed down on every single person in that sterile room. The undeniable lab results forced Dr. Dubois and her team into a serious confrontation with medical orthodoxy. Elena, now seen as the child's only hope, stood ready to present her unconventional solution. A palpable tension filled the ICU as Dr. Dubois, her professional rigidness warring with urgency, finally addressed Elena. Elena, with calm resolve, began describing the ancient, indigenous remedy she believed could counteract the neurotoxin. The medical staff exchanged uneasy glances, their scientific training recoiling from the proposal, yet the child's condition worsened. Endorsing such an untested method risked their licenses, reputations, and the life they desperately sought to save. The ultimate decision, amplified by the ticking clock, demanded a challenging leap of faith into the unknown. The weight of the decision settled heavily upon Dr. Dubois, her gaze fixed on the child's deteriorating vitals. Every medical instinct screamed against Elena's untested remedy, but conventional treatments had failed. The ICU's quiet hum amplified the agonizing silence, broken only by the child's shallow breaths. A junior doctor voiced concerns about liability and the hospital's reputation given the unscientific proposal. Elena stood calmly, her posture still, her eyes reflecting only the desperate hope she held for the girl. Dr. Dubois, however, saw beyond a nanny. She saw a woman whose conviction was validated by their lab results. With a profound sigh, she turned from the monitor, her next words poised to defy or embrace the unknown. Dr. Dubois' decision, a quiet yet monumental declaration, echoed through the sterile ICU. She had chosen to trust Elena's conviction, a medical defiance born from desperate hope and validated lab data. The junior doctor's concerns about protocol and reputation still hung heavy, a silent judgment against the unorthodox treatment. Under the medical team's watchful eyes, Elena carefully prepared her traditional concoction, each movement precise. There was no fanfare, only the hushed anxiety of professionals waiting for a miracle or a grave outcome. As the first drops of the potent remedy were administered, a collective breath caught in the room. The next hours would decide everything, holding the fate of a young girl and an unlikely healer in fragile balance. The silence in the ICU stretched, thick with the weight of expectation and an underlying fear, as the critical first hours after Elena's potent remedy slowly began to pass. Every subtle flicker of the monitors, each barely perceptible shift in the young girl's shallow breathing, was meticulously scrutinized by the medical team with bated breath. The junior doctor, though still visibly uneasy about the unorthodox methods, watched Elena with a new, grudging curiosity, his earlier professional disdain replaced by a tense uncertainty. Then, a faint tremor ran through the girl's small hand, a subtle, almost imperceptible movement that visibly jolted the entire room. Dr. Dubois leaned in closer, her eyes widening slightly as crucial numbers on a key physiological monitor began their slow, hesitant ascent towards a fragile normalcy. A collective, silent exhalation filled the room, a palpable wave of cautious hope finally breaking through the oppressive clinical despair. The immediate critical crisis was not entirely over, but a crucial, impossible battle had undeniably been won, defying all conventional medical prediction. Elena's quiet presence in the ICU now carried undeniable weight. Deeply respected, the billionaire family, once skeptical, saw her as their daughter's improbable guardian. Walking through Paris, a profound sense of belonging settled within her. Acknowledging her extraordinary act, she continued her duties with dedication. The fear defining her foreign existence finally receded. The bond with the recovering girl was profound, built on a shared secret of survival and gratitude. Though the world might never grasp her courage, Elena knew the truth of her accomplishment. Her quiet resilience saved a life, forging a new identity, a testament to strength found in unexpected places.